Good evening and welcome to Off the Lip, the show about surfing and skateboarding. If you'd like to join the show tonight, give us a call at 831-479-1080. That's 831-479-1080. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's program, Neil Perlberg and Terry Campion.
Good evening and welcome to the Off the Lip radio show, broadcasting from Santa Cruz, California. In studio tonight, along with my co-host, Mr. Terry Campion. I can barely... What's going on, TC? You're hidden behind a bunch of crap.
I'll work on that.
We have a incredible guest. We have a wonderful guest. Very excited to have him here. Stoked to have him here. I think he's our second South African guest. You know who our first was? Sean Thompson.
Oh, of course.
Can you remember?
Sean the Prawn. That was a great night.
Sean Thompson was our guest, our first South African. Now we have our second South African, Mr. Chris Bertish, in studio tonight. Very excited to have him here. Even Skin Dog stopped by, ran in the studio, didn't he?
Yeah, I know.
Car running, ran in, hugs and kisses, and God knows what else.
They're buddies. And another champion on the show.
That's right. The 2010 Mavericks Champion is here on the show. I know we're going to get to that because that was an incredible story, what happened that year. And I think for most of us around here, Mavericks is a big deal. So I want to hear about that event, how it happened, how it transpired. And
that was the big wave that wiped the crowd out,
that's
right?
That's right. Remember Don Bostic, our guest Don Bostic was on the beach and just wiped the tent, the whole thing out. It was incredible. Just huge waves that day. Unexpected, I think. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Chris Bertish into the show. Good to see you, Chris.
Neil, TC, thanks very much. And
welcome.
Guys, thanks very much for organizing such amazing weather for me. An amazing waterman. He pretty much built the first ever catamaran in South Africa. He was an avid paddler. He sailed, he surfed, he water skied for South Africa and for Britain. So I was pretty much immersed in the ocean from literally the age of like 2 or 3 years old. And I sailed with him on his catamaran from the age of 5. So, and I think even when I learned how to water ski, I mean, we actually got these little water skis that were probably about 1.5 foot long because they couldn't actually make water skis small enough for
How old were you?
Us. Probably about 5 years old when I started.
Right. How soon did you get rid of the water skis and just go barefoot skiing?
I tried that a couple times, but yeah, when you put your toes down, you faceplant pretty bad. So I learned what not to do pretty quickly. But I think, just being involved in the ocean from an early age, I learned an amazing affinity for it, being content, being humble, it taught me some of the most valuable lessons of my life. And I think they're amazing principles that you can learn from the ocean.
What does the ocean give to you?
I mean, what doesn't the ocean give to you and what doesn't it teach you? I think all the valuable life lessons that I've learned that have helped me through life have all come from being in the ocean. It keeps you humble, it keeps you grounded, and it teaches you a lot about yourself. I'm going
to fast forward here a little bit. You have gotten involved with public speaking, is that correct?
That's correct.
And is that around the ocean? Is that around what you've done, or is that around are you teaching people about the ocean, or are you teaching people about or letting people know what you've done personally?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think it's actually more about, the story of growing up in the ocean and what that's taught me and the lessons that it's taught me that have helped me accomplish what I have and get through life. And, we all have to change to be able to get better and stronger at what we do. And I think the ocean has taught me amazing lessons that have helped me get to where I am today. And I think those kind of inspiring lessons I just help put onto other people.
So you went and spoke just a couple of days ago in Silicon Valley.
That's correct.
So if you get a young man or young woman in your audience, what do you hope for him or her to take from you in regards to the ocean?
I think it's more, there are a lot of life lessons that you can take from the ocean. I think it's all about, being prepared for anything in life and putting in the right planning, preparation, and training, because I believe that, physical fitness breeds mental confidence. But it's more about an attitude, and as long as you've done like the planning and preparation and training, then you can reduce your risk and you can proceed with confidence in anything you do in life.
Okay.
And I think it's about overcoming your own obstacles and fears in life and taking that leap of faith and being able to believe in yourself that you can achieve anything.
Okay. TC, what do you got?
Oh, I'm just curious, because public speaking is different.
Pretty terrifying.
frightening.
Well, and it's different. And how did you get to be Chris the pro surfer to Chris the public speaker?
TC, I think that's a great question. I ended up obviously with being fortunate enough to win in the 2010 event, which was, more than a dream come true for me. It's something I'd been working at for a really long time just to get that opportunity to get into that event. And, I'd worked so hard and I'd focused on it for over a decade to get that invitation. And, I didn't have sponsors. I didn't, it was really difficult coming from South Africa. And I think by achieving that goal, I wanted to then, after that, go out and inspire other people to make them realize that if they set their mind on something, they stayed, determined and focused and never gave up on it, you can achieve anything that you set your mind to achieve. And I think that's just an inspiring story for no matter what you do in life, whether it be in surfing, sport, and business, and just, believing in yourself and taking that leap of faith and facing your own fears and overcoming them and then, succeeding at whatever you do.
Would that be, normally we'd be writing books and penning bestsellers?
Well, I'm working on a book at the moment that I should have finished in the next month or two. So
What's it called?
It's called Stoked.
Okay, perfect.
So it's very difficult to fill big shoes like Sean Thompson's to be sitting here today, because he's a incredibly amazing gentleman, inspiring, humble, and a supreme athlete. I admire him.
For you,
greatly.
Springboks, is he the top of the surf chain, as it were? Someone that your country looks up to?
Yeah, I think he's an amazing role model, and I think we all need role models like that in life and in sport. And I think he's one of those athletes that's transcended from just being a surfer to becoming a great role model for the sport and for the youth and for anyone involved in the sport of surfing.
Okay. The 2010 Mavericks, I went back and did a little bit of research. You had no money, right?
$29 to my name.
You had $29.
All my credit cards.
Right. You borrowed money from your brother.
Brother, friend, best friend, other friend I didn't even know.
So you passed the hat around. You got enough money to get a plane ticket over here.
And I still, when I got on that flight that evening, it was the only flight that would get me there in time. And I phoned up Jeff to say, well, is it definitely on? And he was like, well, they've changed the format this year. You're going to have to give me another 2 hours before I can tell you if it was going to go or not. And I was like, well, I have to get on the flight, like right now.
Right.
And I have to pay for the flight, otherwise I'm not going to get on the flight to be able to get that. And he's like, oh, sorry, I can't help you.
So you got on it.
Well, it's like, it's one of those situations in life where, you've worked towards a goal for so long, and my whole mantra and philosophy is about never giving up and, staying focused and determined no matter what comes in your path. And it was one of those moments that sort of defines you and like all your beliefs. And I never wanted to look back and regret if I hadn't have made that call and jumped on that flight and, thrown all my chips on the table and just gone, screw it, I'm going.
Right.
I would have looked back for the rest of my life going, well, what if? And if I had ever had that opportunity, I would have turned into one of those like old men in a bar, like drunk going, I could have been somebody.
So you got on the flight, you made it over.
No, I got on a flight and I literally flew from Cape Town to Joburg to Amsterdam, got to Amsterdam like 15 hours later, checked the internet as I was transferring, found out that the event had gone green light, which was awesome because I actually didn't have enough money to be able to pay for my flight to change the flight to even fly back home. I was screwed either which way. I was like, when people talk about being all in,
right?
I was all in. There was nothing else that I could do. I was so broke because I'd actually flown back on Christmas Day. I spent like $3,000 to fly back home on Christmas Day that same year to look after my girlfriend at the time that had some life-threatening illness, and she was going in for surgery. So I actually spent all my money going back and looking after her, and then I was just actually trying to work out how I was going to get through that month with like looking at my bank account and being overdrawn and everything because I pretty much just sacrificed everything on it.
Right.
And then I got to Amsterdam, then flew from Amsterdam to Dallas, got to Dallas, and the snow was coming down. It was like one of those worst storms, obviously, because the storm that was generating the big surf was also generating these big waves, and it was closing down all the airports. And I arrived there, I was ran out of time checking through customs, and I just went to go and get the next flight, and I heard on all the announcements going, we could be closing down the airports. Please check your flight. All flights are being cancelled. So now I'm super stressed, thinking I might miss the flight. Go to the check-in counter, hand in my ticket to be able to board the plane. The lady goes, no, sorry, there's something wrong with your ticket. You haven't actually been checked through. You need to go sort this out and get the next flight out tomorrow morning. I was like, no, you don't understand. I have to,
man.
Like, it's been 10 years trying to get to this point. You have to let me on the flight. She was like, no, sorry, I'm busy. You're going to have to sort it out. Come back tomorrow. And I'm not sure if I grabbed her and she was just scared, or if she actually just saw how desperate I was. And I said to her, listen, I don't know if you watched the movie The Terminal. I'm going to be like Tom Hanks stuck in this terminal. I'm going to be stealing hamburgers from people because I don't even have enough money to fly home,
Right.
And I think she could see how desperate I was. And she actually ended up somehow giving me a jump seat on the flight, like the air hostess's seat. Got me on the flight and then flew to...
It was the accent.
I tried to bat my eyelids, but it didn't. It did help that day, and then I got to San Francisco, and then my boards didn't arrive. So.
Okay, hang on. We're going to get to that. So what happened? So we're now in San Francisco.
It's the day of the contest, and I have no surfboard.
This is the Off the Lip Radio Show, broadcasting from Santa Cruz, California, on KSCO. We will be right back for the rest of the 2010 Chris Bertish story and how he became champion at Mavericks when we return after this very, very short break. Thinking of a vacation in Santa Cruz? Then contact Beach Nest Vacation Rentals at 831-722-0888 to make your reservation. The very best local vacation management company with their staff will take care of the tiniest of details to better your memorable Monterey Bay holiday. They are pet-friendly with a choice of homes on or close to the beach in Santa Cruz and the Central Coast. For further information, go to beachnest.com or follow them on Facebook. Toyota Santa Cruz is under construction, building a state-of-the-art facility at their current location on 41st Avenue and Highway 1. Julie Fergoli, the general manager, would like to invite you all to take advantage of their need for room while all the heavy equipment is on their facility. She would like to inform you that there is no time like now to get unbelievable savings on a new Toyota or one of their certified pre-owned vehicles, and that their highly rated parts and service is still open 7 days a week. So now is the time to take advantage of their mess. Head down to Toyota Santa Cruz or check them out online at santacruztoyota.com.
Hi, this is Steve Pereira, the beach guy at Bailey Properties in Santa Cruz, California. If you're looking for a beach home or a coastal property, give us a call at 831-818-7064, or you can call my wife Diane at 831-818-5939, or drop in on our website at lifesabeach.com and check out all the inventory in all price ranges. We've been selling beach properties since 1982. We're here to help you. Give us a call today.
And we are back with the Off the Lip Radio Show. This portion of the show right now is the trivia portion of the show.
Woo-hoo.
Brought to you by $10 Ding Repair. No longer fixing stand-up paddle boards.
Right. I officially got that word from him.
You did?
Yes.
He's out. $10 Ding Repair. $10 surfboard repair.
We've been messing that up since we started. There's no reason to fix it now. No, I actually saw him and he said no stand-up paddleboards, just surfboards.
Really?
Yeah.
He said his back is acting up. He can't handle anything over 10 feet is out.
Hey, he's still the best guy in the business.
He'll fix your board?
Pronto.
That's right. Really quickly. 722-4060. Trivik, what are you giving away this week? What can you give away this week, TC? Part of your race car that fell off?
Hey, the car's actually in good shape. Let's give away a sweatshirt of your choice from the boardroom.
Excellent.
Yeah. Santa Cruz boardroom.
Last week's guest, the legendary skater himself, Mr. Jeff Kendall.
Great show.
It was a great show. He is the vice president of what company? Caller number 2 at 831-479-1080. Owns himself a terrific, gorgeous, lovely sweatshirt from the boardroom.
Yep.
831-479-1080. Jeff Kendall.
My boards arrive, it's fine, and then you wait at the baggage counter and you see, like, you know, the golf clubs, and you see a canoe, you see someone's granny get lifted off, and, you know, and the only thing that doesn't arrive are your
stuff.
And then the door closes.
And then the door closes, and you feel like your life is shutting down in front of you.
I've seen it.
And then you approach the baggage handler and you say, well, where's my board? And he goes, sometimes they just don't make the connection. Come back in a couple of days' time.
You know,
I've got like the Olympics of big wave surfing in like 4 hours' time. You've got to find my surfboards. And he's like, I'm sure you can rent something from the beach.
Well, you know, you bring up a good point that I'm
maybe from KSCO.
I'm curious because you're coming from summer.
Yeah.
And you're going into this contest where the waves are predicted to be big. Yeah. Did you have some time in the few weeks before of riding large surf?
No, not really CC at all. But, you know, I spend a hell of a lot of time in the pool training. I do a lot of underwater training. I've got my own little training regime, which I've been working on for about 15 years. And a lot of people say, well, is it successful? Well, I'm still here. So it's got to be reasonably successful.
Which we ask every guest, how long can you hold your breath?
Not long enough. Never long enough.
4 minutes?
Yeah, I should. Well, when I'm probably trained static, you should be able to hold your breath for about 5 minutes, which is the equivalent of about 1 minute and 35 seconds when you're being completely hammered by a 50-foot wave. You know, how do I know that? Because I think that's about what time it took before my body started shutting down in that first heat when I got caught inside by that 60-foot plus set, which, pretty rattled everybody in that heat. I think I was the only one that actually got through, but I think it was probably the closest I've ever come to drowning ever. And I think, you know, when your body starts shutting down and you lose your ability to use your arms and your legs completely, and when someone's shouting at you to hold on and you're not able to actually move your arms and legs to be able to even hold on the sled, which is keeping you alive from another 50-footer behind you, and the guy then shouts at you, do you want me to take you to the paramedics? And you try and speak, but you're not able to even get anything out of your mouth. That's when you know that you are as far gone and close to death as you can possibly go, because what's actually happened is that your body has systematically started shutting down one process at a time by shutting down your ability of your arms and legs to work, then the ability of your speech, because it's only then focusing on the only one primary life force, which is to breathe.
Right. And this is in the first heat.
And that was within the first half an hour that I went out into my first heat after traveling for 42 hours on a plane and with not on my own equipment. And that's what I was greeted with when I arrived there. And, you know, that's the way I started my morning.
Wow. Isn't
so,
that
you know,
incredible?
when people talk about having a bad day at the office.
That was a bad day.
Everybody's definition of a bad day at the office is very different.
Exactly.
That's my definition of a really bad day.
Let's find out what Patrick thinks of your bad day. Patrick, you there?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Patrick?
It's going good.
Good. What do you have a question? Do you have a question for our guest tonight?
Who's the vice president? I'm just going to take a wild guess.
Okay, you're doing the trivia question, right? Okay, well,
yeah.
Patrick, somebody already won the sweatshirt. So call back next week. Try again, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it for calling us.
Somebody got it.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Well.
Sorry.
Next time.
Brian from Santa Cruz, you're on the phone with Chris Bertish. You have a question for Chris? Brian, you still there? How about... No, he's not. Brian, Brian, if you want to call back, call back. Skin Dog, if you want to call the phone number tonight to call and talk to Chris Bertish is 831-479-1080. Just want to mention that we are on Facebook, Instagram. We're tweeting. I've been told by Shannon, the surf channel, to buckle up my social media.
Yep.
Apparently, I need an intern. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. She's telling me I got to do a better job than what I'm doing. But we are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We tweeting, Instagram, whatever the hell.
You know, I want to get back to this surfboard story. So you don't have boards.
Got no board yet.
You're heading out to Mavericks for a contest with some 60-foot bombs,
which is just about to start in like 4 hours' time.
And you're scrapping around the parking lot trying to find a surfboard?
No, actually, I ended up going back to the pioneer and godfather of Mavericks, Mr. Jeff Clark, who has become an amazing friend, like family to me now, and. He has always been super, super helpful and inspiring to me, and he had a backup board for me at the house, which he gave me, which is pretty pretty close, I guess, to what I was riding. I mean, nothing's ever the same as
Did he know
your
what
board.
you wanted to ride?
You know, if there's anyone that knows my boards and how I ride better than anyone else on the planet, it would be Jeff.
And what board did you ride that day?
I ended up riding a 9.2, which was sort of two inches bigger than what I normally ride. I ride really, really small boards compared to most people. But, you know, it ended up with the day that it was that day, where the waves were so exponentially large. It was probably a blessing in disguise that I was actually riding a board that was slightly bigger.
Did you make after you escaped the near-death experience? Did you make it back out there because you need, you know, obviously you needed money? Was it I mean, I'm winning this thing, right?
You know?
I mean, you needed the cash to get back home, so. Did that come into the picture?
It wasn't actually the cash that I needed to get back home. It was just the cash to pay the taxi to get back to the airport. That's how bad it was, you know. No, you know, I don't think that was sort of the driving force of making that decision. But I remember getting back to back out in the channel and the rescue operator, you know, on the back of the ski saying to me, "Do you want me to take you to the boat? Are you done?" And I remember lying there, and I just started getting my hand, like the ability to be able to use my hands and legs back together and try to collect my thoughts. And I was just, you know, there's a little picture that I had in front of my desk at home, which I grabbed from my dad's office, which was a picture of a stork, and he's eating this frog. And I don't know if you've ever seen it before. This frog is halfway down the stork's throat, and his little arms are sticking outside the stork's mouth, and he's throttling the stork. And underneath it says, "Never, ever, ever give up." And I think it's something that I've always sort of lived by, is that, you know, unless you're actually dead, there's always hope. And it's just a simple decision. Like we all have choices in life. And, you know, I could have made that decision to quit right then and there. And many people would have in that situation, and I wouldn't have blamed them. But, you know, I always try and look back at every situation that I make, and look back and say, if I look back in this situation in 5 years' time, would I regret making that decision, or could I make another choice?
Right. So when you went back out there, what decisions did you make for yourself that you needed to change in order to not get clobbered again?
Well, it was actually more like a decision like, I'm going to get back on this backup board that was in the channel, and no matter how long it was going to take me to get back out to the back line, I'd never, like if I got back out to the back line and I didn't get another wave before the heat finished, I'd never be able to look back at the situation again and look back and go, well, I never tried. So I wasn't really actually even expecting to get another wave at all. I just wanted to actually go back out there, like as they say, get back on the horse, go back out there, and if I didn't get another wave, that was irrelevant, because I didn't want to be anywhere near where the other guys were sitting, because I knew that if I got caught inside by another wave, I was dead. There was no question whatsoever about it. Like I could barely paddle. That's how. So
you know if that had happened again, you wouldn't have survived.
Oh, no, if I'd been caught inside by a wave half that size, there's no way I would have survived. I was so physically drained that it literally took me probably 4 times the amount of time that it should normally take you to paddle back to the zone. I was sitting probably, I would say 100 meters into the channel compared to where all the other guys were sitting. And I remember looking down at my watch, and there was like 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the heat. And I was like, you know what? I got back to the back line. I've done everything I could. Even if I don't get another wave, too bad. At least I tried.
So what happened?
Like just by whatever pure luck, chance, destiny, whatever you want to call it, I just saw a massive set come through. And I remember Tazzy getting one of the first waves of the sets. 2 of the other, and Carlos got the other wave of the set, and then the last one cleaned up the other 2 guys. And the last wave of the set, for some random reason, it like swung completely wide.
Was the wave from Amsterdam?
It might have been the one from Amsterdam.
It's a script. This is a movie script.
And it literally swung like completely wide and literally came straight to me. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, this wave's actually coming right to me. And
how big was it?
You know, out there it's always overhead, so it doesn't really matter.
Big enough. Put you through.
And I remember just thinking to myself, well, you know, I don't actually have enough energy to be able to actually paddle for it. That's how exhausted I was. And I remember thinking, okay, well, all I'm going to do is I'm going to swivel around my board, I'm going to flop face down onto my board And when I feel the wave picking me up from behind, I'm just going to take one stroke. And if I catch it, I catch it. If I don't, I don't. Then I've known I've given it everything. And I remember literally flopping down, the wave coming from behind, and actually just taking one stroke with both hands, which I still, to this day, I've never, ever caught a wave like that in big surf, ever.
Right.
And by some chance,
it took you.
That wave was the wave that got me through the heat, which is like a miracle, really.
Insane.
I've never done that still to this day.
So you caught that wave, and then how did you feel after you? How did you feel after you surfed that wave? Did you know you make the heat?
No, not at all. Actually, I was just so relieved just to get on a boat and just to be lie there on the boat on the deck, just trying to recover. And then someone told me that I'd actually made it through the heat, and I think I was pretty upset, actually.
You didn't want to go back
I couldn't actually fathom in my mind how it was possible for me to go back in as the waves were just getting exponentially bigger and bigger and bigger during the day. Like, how I was going to fathom surviving, going out there and trying to not compete, but actually, like, for me, it was more about survival than it was trying to get the best waves in the water out there. I mean, I was competing against all my childhood heroes and legends that I've sort of grown up idolizing. It was the first time I'd ever been in the event surfing against the best guys in the world. And for me, it was more like, it was just a humbling experience, just being able to be a part of it and sharing that experience with people that I'd looked up to and grown up surfing with all my life. And I think that's what made it even more special. I'm
going to go forward here to you won the event. How did you feel winning it? From a near-death experience, the 40, the 2 days in the air, no money, you're on your last breath. How exalted were you when you were on the stand when you to pick up the winner's check, which must have been lovely, and the trophy?
The funny thing was that I actually didn't know that I had won when I arrived in on land, because it took me so long to get back in. And by the time I got in, I think the podium had been washed away, that all of the announcing station had been washed away. And everybody kept on, came up to me and they was like surrounding me and asking me questions saying, congratulations, well done. But no one actually said to me that I'd won. So everybody was like, oh, well done, how do you feel? And I was like, oh, no, I think I did okay. And I'm just humbled and happy to be surfing with my heroes and idols and what have you, and I'm just happy to represent my country. And everybody kept on like looking at me funny because no one actually said to me that I won. So I just thought I'd come third or fourth, and I think Grant Washburn actually came up to me about 10 minutes later, and he grabbed me on the shoulder. He said, "Chris, what are you talking about? Just being humble. You just won the freaking Mavericks event." And I was like, what do you mean I won it? Wow. He turned me around and he said, "Do you see anyone else getting interviewed?" And I looked around and I didn't realize that, like, I thought all the other guys were getting interviewed like I was. And then I turned around and so I realized that I was the only one that was getting.
That is an amazing experience.
Well, I got a quick question about that final, because you won and everybody else didn't. And I know you caught a wave that if somebody else got, who was that somebody else?
That was Mr. Carlos Burle. And I remember that wave like it was yesterday. It was sort of imprinted in my brain. And I remember seeing that wave coming, and everyone that was out there, it was sort of like a fight or flight kind of reaction, because the wave was a monster set that came in, and he swiveled around and also was going to go for it. And I think it was just one of those situations, one of those moments, those light bulb moments in your life where, everything sort of goes into slow motion and you realize that, that's your moment and your chance. And if you do not take that opportunity, it's going to slip by, and you'll always look back on that same situation and wonder for the rest of your life. And I think that's what happens when, the definition of success is what happens when opportunity meets preparation, and you've got to be able to recognize it, see it, and recognize that that's your moment, and you've got to be able to just face your fears to be able to live your dreams. And I think that's exactly what happened, and it was just
and that was the wave.
That was the wave. And I ended up making the bottom turn and making it halfway around, and then got completely obliterated, and it actually ended up forcing my teeth right through my mouth. But it didn't really matter, because I was quite a cool party trick to be able to use to drink my cocktails through my mouth in my store a little bit later to celebrate.
You are listening to the Off-It Radio Show here tonight with a very special guest, Mr. Chris Bertish from South Africa. I'm here with my co-host, TC. This portion of the show is brought to you by Freeline Design Surf Shop. They want to let you know that Bella Beta tickets are now available for purchase at Freeline Surf Shop only. The showing for this cultural surf film will be held at the Del Mar Theater downtown next Wednesday, October 15th at 7:30. Tickets will no longer be sold. Tickets will not be sold at the door. Make sure you get your ticket at Freeline Surf Shop. They're only $12 a piece.
Hey, and you know what? I saw the trailer. It looks like an amazing film.
The film, the same people made Single Fin, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
So check this movie out. It should be pretty good.
Honestly, I think the name doesn't give the movie justice. Because
what's the name of that movie?
Bella Vita.
Bella Vita, yeah.
Well, if it's the same one as the guys that made Single Fin, that was an absolute epic.
That was a great movie.
The trailer looks amazing.
Neil TC, our guest tonight, Chris Bertish. We'll be right back after this very short break.
This is Brad Timmy.
And Cleo from Cleo's Corner at Puna Hawaiian Grill.
A call at 831-462-5900 or take a look for yourself at thehealthyway.us or follow us on Facebook.
And we are back with the Alternate Radio Show, broadcasting from Santa Cruz, California on KSCO. We are also streaming live on the surfchannel.com. If you want to check out the show again tonight, will be available on YouTube directly after the show. The show podcast will be available tomorrow, AlternateRadio.com. It's also on iTunes and TuneIn Radio. Okay, we did Mavericks, right?
Yes.
Did we get to the podium?
So
now we're going to talk about...
How long did it take to cash the check from Mavericks?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people also know that event struggled with a lot of politics and stuff afterwards, where the company that ran it went into some legal issues and what have you, and I didn't end up getting all the money, and then I got double taxed on the money that I did get.
Oh boy!
But you know what the funny thing was, that I ended up getting exactly the amount of money that paid back everybody that I'd borrowed money from and my credit cards up to literally zero. And isn't that, I think it's a great story about, the universe sometimes just giving you back everything
just
that
enough.
you want, just enough.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say, oh, no, you should make a big thing about it and what have you. And I thought about it long and hard, and it made me realize that I got everything that I wanted out of that, and in my dream and in my goals that I've been working for 10 years to do that and accomplish that, there was never anything about money.
Right. Well, and that day is such a game changer for your life.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yes.
MasterCard and Visa appreciate you paddling it back out.
Yes, they do.
They got paid.
Yes, they
I
do.
want to, and I know Neil's interested in this too. You're getting ready to prepare for a huge trip.
Yeah, there are a couple of big trips actually. I'm going to try and see if we can do the 24-hour Guinness World Record at the end of this year in a couple of months' time. The longest open ocean distance in 24 hours straight. That's sort of in preparation for doing the transatlantic next year. So it should be.
And transatlantic, you're saying you're gonna paddle transatlantic.
That's correct. Yeah, the flights to California are really expensive these days. I'm trying to reduce the carbon footprint here.
Great job on that.
From Dakar, Senegal, to somewhere in Brazil, correct?
Yeah, no,
2,000 miles?
we've actually changed it now. So I'm actually going from Morocco to the Canaries to Antigua to Miami, which is going to be 8,000 kilometers, which is just over 5,000 miles.
So you're going from 2,000 to 5,000.
Yeah,
Let's see what
bored.
Steve thinks about that. Steve, are you there? Are you there? Steve?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi. Do you have a question for Chris,
Hey,
Steve? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Chris, I do. Hey, Neil, TC, how's it going, man?
Good. Hello.
Good. Hey, Chris, your story fits right into the Greek mythology of exile and homecoming. And since we've heard, seriously, man, I mean, the trials of Odysseus is nothing compared to what you went through. What I really want to hear about, I mean that, is the end of the story is the homecoming. All these trials and tribulations, and if you could just kind of finish it up for me, like, how did your mates and family and everyone else treat you when you got back home? Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, we're on from the. Thanks, Steve, for calling, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks very much for the call, and I'm glad to chat to you. And I think that's actually a really great part in that story, because I was actually meant to stay for another week or so afterwards to do like this whirlwind celebration tour to LA and to Washington and what have you. And when the guys phoned me in the morning to tell me about the this whole trip that I was meant to be doing, I said to them, sorry, listen, I'm at the airport. I'm just about to board another flight. And they're like, well, where are you going? Where are you going? And I actually said, well, sorry, man, I have to go back to work. I've got to be at a Monday morning appointment. And I literally got on a flight right like in the morning, like straight the next morning, flew another 36 hours back home, arrived at 8 o'clock in the morning, and like a whole lot of my friends and family were at the airport and celebrating with champagne and stuff. And I literally stayed for 20 minutes celebrating, which I was really stoked on, obviously. And then I had to actually cut it short and say, sorry, guys, I actually got to get to an appointment. I literally walked out of the airport lounge straight to the car park area, got into my car, put my trophy in my car, put my key in the ignition, drove out of the airport, shaved and brushed my teeth on the way, driving to my 9 o'clock appointment. Got to my 9 o'clock appointment at 7 minutes past 9. And I remember the customers like ranting and raving at me. Oh my God, I can't believe you're 7 minutes late for your appointment. And I remember like thinking about it for a split second and thinking like, how I was going to explain this entire story to her. And then I just actually thought to myself, there's no point. And I actually said, sorry, ma'am, I just got stuck in traffic. Carried on with my rest of my day like nothing else had happened.
Very cool.
That 24 hours is insane in your life.
It's insane. This is the Off the Lip Radio Show. And Neil and TC are your hosts tonight, along with Chris Bertish, our very, very important guest. We're so stoked that he's in the house and telling us some great stories. We'll be right back after this very short break.
Hi, this is Jeff Warnerhalder from North Bay Ford. Proud to sponsor the Off the Lip Radio Show. We're here to support the local surf community with a full inventory of trucks, hybrids, and plug-in hybrids. Come see why the F-150 has been the best-selling vehicle for 39 years. We have the perfect surf vehicle in stock, the new 2015 Ford Transit van. We have a model that will fit your needs. Come to the no-hassle, easy place to buy a car. No stress, no drama. We make it easy for everybody. We're locally owned, locally operated. North Bay Ford at 1999 SoCal Avenue or www.northbayford.com.
What is your favorite wave? What if it were gone tomorrow? We at Save the Waves Coalition are dedicated to preserving and protecting our waves and coastlines around the world. From Chile to Bali, Mexico to Peru, and right here in our own backyard of Santa Cruz. Become a member today and help us protect these special spots. Mention Off the Lip Radio and receive a special membership bonus. Visit www.savethewaves.org and become a member of the coalition. That's savethewaves.org.
Chill Out Cafe on 41st Avenue, Santa Cruz is not just a block from some of the world's best surf, but it is also where you can go relax and order the tastiest grub before and after your sesh. Plump burritos, fresh salads, sky-high sandwiches, and a superb selection of hot and cold drinks. They have something for you. Go to chilloutcafesantacruz.com to view their menu, and to place your order to go, call 831-477-0543. Chill Out Cafe, where they roll the fatties.
We are back with the Off the Lip Radio Show. Jeff Winterholder from North Bay Ford wants to let you know it's still truck month down there at North Bay Ford, TC.
Woohoo!
Got to mention the F-150 Raptor. And what's that new surf vehicle he was...
they have a new van.
Yeah, the new van.
It's big. It's a big, beautiful surf van.
So if you're looking for a surf vehicle, that is the one to get. This thing's sweet. What's it called? Oh, the Transit Surf Van.
That's it.
That's the one. I want one of those things.
Good mileage, too. I think it has a diesel engine in it.
It does?
Yeah, I think so.
It's going to get better mileage than the thing you're driving. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah.
In studio tonight, we have Mr. Chris Bertish from South Africa, who we need like a additional 12 hours on this radio show to even his laundry list of achievements.
Well,
is
it's
incredible.
too bad because we talk during commercial break and there's just more stories that come out of this guy.
Thicker.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The air traffic controller got involved.
Real quick, I want to get back to this paddle because we only have a few minutes left to talk about this. We'll talk about the movie next. But so this is a 5,000-mile paddle. Has anyone done this before?
No, it's never really been attempted. I don't think there's anyone that's that stupid that'll try it before me.
But no support boat.
You're doing it no boat.
That's correct, yeah.
So you're going to be by yourself out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, it should be awesome.
Okay, and now earlier, because I'm really intrigued by this, I'm a boater, and stuff like this really makes me excited. You are making a custom paddle boat, I guess, is what you're making,
it's
right?
like a stand-up paddleboard craft. So if you think of the open ocean rowboats, the guys do sort of semi-transatlantic from Canaries to Antigua.
So there's a place for you to sleep and eat?
There's like a little console.
Right.
Like it's a very small console. So if you get if you've got any issues with claustrophobia, you've got some serious problems.
And how about some dimensions so people can get a grasp of?
We're looking at probably between 19 and 20 feet, which is only about 1.5 feet longer than my open ocean stand-up paddleboard that I do the 12-hour and 24-hour records with. It'll just be a lot wider. So it's normally about a meter and a half wide in the sort of narrow point and about 2 meters wide in its wide point. And then it's got a little bit of a cabin, and then you'd obviously take a water desalinator, which works via reverse osmosis. And then you take enough freeze-dried food to hopefully keep you going. And if you run out, then tuna is your next best friend.
Talked about that. Now, I have a question because I think of the Atlantic and I think of big rolling whitecaps and, big open pounding swells.
Yeah, TC, you're 100% right. I actually used to, I sail a hell of a lot as well. I used to sail professionally big boats, and I've done a lot of transatlantics already, taking boats across the Atlantic. And if you go at the wrong time, you've got some serious problems. But the route that I'd be traveling is actually following a lot of the trade routes, which is the wind and the currents that actually go that way. So that'll help a lot to help you get to your destination.
Are you in the shipping lanes? Because you've got there's obviously some large craft out there. Are you staying out of the shipping lanes?
As much as you want to stay out of the shipping lanes, you unfortunately still have to cross them. So,
well, it's an amazing story because I think about this. This thing could fit on top of a car, right? You could strap it on a car.
Pretty much.
And
almost,
you're gonna go across the Atlantic Ocean in something that fits on top of a car.
I always like to redefine and test what's possible out there. But if you put it down into those words, it pretty much sums it up quite nicely.
You are a maniac. Now, and I wish we had more time to talk about this, but I know you have a film project going too, and that sounds amazing. And let's have the listeners get that.
I've been working on something with actually a team in Santa Cruz and in South Africa, a company called Aurelia Productions, which is based out here in Nadia Talo, and then the Fixer Film Crew in South Africa, which is called Ocean Driven. And it's actually about my life story and the lead up to the Mavericks event and the big four of tracking swells across the Pacific, which happened a couple of years before that, which a lot of people don't know about, which is also some pretty interesting stories that go with it. So, but it's not actually meant to be a surf film. It's actually more meant to be an inspiring story about staying true to yourself, staying focused, staying determined, having a goal, never giving up on it, and living your passions and your dreams and never giving up on whatever you want to do, because nothing's impossible unless you believe it to be.
And that is you.
That's
what
him.
You just described yourself, right?
So,
I mean, that's it.
You have a list as long as my arm of things that you've achieved, and now you're going to go across the Atlantic Ocean on a paddleboard. What's next after that? I mean, how far are you looking ahead?
I've got projects planned out until 2020. And the one in 2020 is actually a completely different type of craft. It's actually a sailing mission, which is to do the first ever solo sailing of the Atlantic on a very small craft. I've been sailing all my life, so it's about doing different, take off one thing and then move on to something else, and keep on redefining what's possible in different things. It's just, at the end of the day, it's a mindset and it's an attitude, and it's about, if you really truly believe in something and you do the right preparation and research and planning, then you actually can reduce the risk enough so it's actually not insane. It's actually completely manageable, and it's about managing that uncomfortable state for an extended period of time.
Well, some people might think that you are managing complete insanity.
It's a very fine line.
I think we need to touch upon real quick before the show ends. The new format with Titans of Mavericks. Do you know much about it? Have you followed it a little bit? You obviously have made it through the cuts.
Neil, actually, I don't know that much about it. And I think the best guy to probably get in for that would obviously be Jeff. I know that the guys have been doing an amazing job with the Titans of Mavericks, just changing and uplifting it, giving the whole contest a facelift, and I think getting a lot more media attention to it and a lot more broadcast quality. And the event is such an amazing event, and when you compare it to any other sporting spectacle, it's so unique because most people don't grasp and capture that we are not dealing in an arena that is fixed. we are dealing with an environment that is volatile, life-threatening, and constantly changing around you on a split-second basis. And the risk versus reward is so exponentially unproportionate, and compared to any other sport. And I think, whether you're winning $20,000, $50,000, it doesn't really matter, because you're actually out there because you love it, you're passionate about it, and it puts a smile on your face. And, the reward of just, dropping into a 50-foot bomb, there's nothing that can replace that feeling or come even close. And, some people jump out of planes, some people take drugs. We drop into big waves, and, there's nothing that can put a bigger smile on my face.
Are we borrowing another Jeff Clark board and paddling out this year?
As long as I'm on what I call Jeff Clark's, his magic peaches, I'll be fine. They're like the magic carpets out there. And, I owe a lot to Jeff and Cassandra. They've been amazing. And, California and Santa Cruz and the whole area here, the guys have always been so forthcoming and welcoming, and I really take my hat off to everyone here, and thanks very much for having us South Africans. And
you've got to have a Springboks in here.
Exactly.
Well, so, I look forward to hearing about these future adventures you have. I think it's incredible.
I think, Chris, next, if you come back for Titans, I think you've got to come back to the studio and you've got to work on Chapter 2 or the second hour of the Chris Bertish show, because we didn't tap on anything.
And when you do your film tour, and then after that, the book tour, and all these things that are coming up. So,
guys, thanks very much for the guys at KSCO. You guys have been amazing. TK, I really appreciate it, and it's a privilege and honor working with you guys.
You're very welcome. And next week's show, we got a good show, TC.
Yes.
Savannah Shaughnessy, Sarah Gerhardt, they were the only women chosen in the selection of the Titans and Mavericks. 2 women surfers are going to be in studio to talk about big wave surfing for women.
I think that's incredible.
That's going to be an amazing interview in itself. The level of surfing in not only in big waves but in small waves of the ladies is unbelievable. I mean, if you watch Stefan Gilmore and those girls ripping in the Hurley Pro and the Quick Pro, I mean, it's unbelievable, their surfing. And I think the ladies are really starting to step it up in big surf as well. And you look at Gabrielle, and you look at Jamila Starr and Sarah Gerhardt. I mean, they're incredible. And I think it just goes to show where the sport is going and how seriously the women are taking it, and how much preparation goes into
for sure. And the Off the Lip radio show endorses big wave surfing for women.
That's
We're behind it.
Fantastic.
Chris, can you win Mavericks? Chris, can you win Mavericks again?
That's a big question. If you get the right waves and you're in the right place, in the right time, with the right mindset, anything's possible.
Okay.
All right.
I think you can win it again.
Get that trophy in check.
Skinny and him,
it's going to be great. I can't wait.
You're going to have to get past Twiggy first. He's on fire.
That's true. That's true. This last portion of the show is brought to you by the Point Chop House. If you're looking for comfort, cocktails,